All right, I want to go over today's trade recap. We ended up taking another loss, so we're 0 for 4. Well, not 0 for 4. We're 4 losses in a row. We took one win on Monday, and then we lost 4 more trades after that. I think we took 2 losses on Tuesday, no trade on Wednesday, took a loss Thursday, took a small loss today because we de-risked because we're on a losing streak, right? And again, I show my proof all the time on my Instagram that show you guys that I'm on PA accounts. Um, there's still people out there. Again, the more I go on social media, they just keep hating and hating. And again, if you guys are ever going to start your platforms on social media and stuff like that, you can't listen to those people because they're the ones that try and just put you down because they see you on who you can become in the future. And again, they're not happy with themselves and they decide to hate on other people for some odd reason. It's a weird world we live in. But again, you just got to keep believing in yourself, doing what you're doing every single day, putting in the work, and that'll outperform them and show them in the future, and that's the best way to deal with that, right? It's not even worth giving them the attention. The best way to deal with that and prove them wrong is to prove them wrong, and again, that'll just piss them off even more in the future. So, again, this is the trade that I took today on my 10 PA accounts. We have $1,850 of drawdown on each account. The highest account was up to almost 51,000 after having them for two months. But now that's back down to 50,400, I think, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. And all the other accounts are pretty much at break even except the most recent accounts that were activated. So, yeah, here's the trade that I took today. I really thought this was going to be a good trade based off of how it was looking, and I'll go over why. Starting off, pre-market, right? NASDAQ came up. We ended up sweeping out this 4-hour high. And then we ended up coming up and taking out this 4-hour high also. And then we also had this hourly high that formed, and we ended up sweeping that pre-market also. And we also swept out London session highs. So as you can see on ES over here, we'll skip to market open. We never came up and took out London session highs. NASDAQ came up, took out all those draws, continued a little bit higher. Market opened, right? Bang, market opened. I thought we were going to take out all-time highs on this move right here. As we can see if we go to the high time frame. I thought we were going to take it out and then continue down for the day. Reason being is because if we go to the hourly time frame, we could see on the hourly time frame, we know that higher time frame holds higher power. So we could see on ES, I think we formed two S&Ts. So on ES, we formed a high and a lower high. On NASDAQ, we formed a high and a higher high, right? Showing us that ES is the leading index. And we're most likely going to continue down, right? And that's why I went off the trade I took today, because usually when the leading index is showing us what the market's going to do, I stick with that. And today we had these hourly lows down below. We had these 4-hour fair value gaps that we could have filled. This would have been one of my first take profits because we already filled this one. And then we also had these hourly equal lows with data lows down here that I thought we could still take out. And I targeted those yesterday and still took a loss. Maybe I'm just too stuck with my bias, but again, I'm going to show you what I saw on this trade. So if we scale out to the 5-minute time frame, right? We also had news today, if we can go over that. We had consumer sentiment, inflation expectations, so I decided to wait for news to drop. That's why I usually don't take trades off market open. I just don't think it's a smart idea. But yeah, what do we see? We can see we monitor the lows, right? So I usually scale out to the 5-minute time frame. We can see on this candle right here, we end up breaking structure to the downside on market open on both indexes, right? Break structure to the downside. We get a break structure to the downside here. And we end up forming another 5-minute another S&T, right? We form a 5-minute S&T. NASDAQ came up, formed a high and a higher high, and ES formed a high and a lower high, right? We never came up and took out these draws. NASDAQ's already up here at this hourly high, right? ES still didn't even come up and take out London session highs. So what did I want to see? I wanted to see our continuation confluences. So I stayed on the 5-minute time frame. Again, I was waiting for news, and we ended up forming this order block right here, right? We had a bearish order block. I thought we were going to come back, retrace into that, and react off of it on NASDAQ. So again, wanted to wait for news. So another thing that made me want to be bearish, let's go over that real quick, is we ended up inversing a 15-minute bullish fair value gap. And I'm looking at ES, because again, ES is the leading index, and I want to target those lows, those equal data lows too that are all the way down here. I thought the market could have the potential to even skyrocket down, and I really think those are going to get taken one of these days, but just not today. But we could see we ended up closing underneath a 15-minute bullish fair value gap. I saw that confirmation also. I was like, sick, dude. Like, this is probably going to be a good trade. Let's wait for news to come out. So let's stay on the 5-minute time frame. As we could see, News comes out. We end up forming, look, NASDAQ was dropping low, dude, too. Right? And we ended up forming a 5-minute bearish fair value gap on NQ, and we had this order block, right? You can mark out that order block with this red line, basically. I thought price was going to continue back up. So what time are we at here? 9:40, 9:45. Let's skip to 9:45. We can see price came up on NASDAQ. We came up into equilibrium, right? And then I was already scaled down to the one minute time frame. We could see we react off of this 5-minute bearish fair value gap. We formed a 1 minute bullish fair value gap here. I still didn't want to enter yet because of news, right? But we ended up inversing it. We're inversing bullish confirmations. So disrespecting bullish confirmations. And we can see here if we come on NASDAQ over here, ES, go from high to low. We came into equilibrium, right? And I was waiting for bearish confluences. So we wait for news to come out. Let's see what we get. News comes up, spikes up. We ended up sweeping out this high above. But look, we ended up coming up. Where's 10 a.m. drop? We'll go to 10 a.m. drop. All right, so 10 a.m. drop, right? What I should have seen, let's go to the 5-minute time frame, is I was sticking with my bearish bias on ES over here, and we never broke structure to the upside, right? We didn't break structure to the upside until we got this candle closure. So I scaled down to the 1 minute time frame, right? And I was on the 1 minute time frame. I should have stayed there. And we could see we come up, we sweep these highs. I want to see reaction off it. So we take out this high, we take out London session highs, and NASDAQ already inversed this 5-minute fair value gap, and it's starting to continue up, probably to continue to go to these highs. And we ended up forming an SMT at the lows in the 5-minute, which I did not see. As we can see, look, we ended up forming a low and a higher low on NASDAQ, low and a higher low. All right, we didn't form that SMT yet. Watch this. Just look. So we didn't form it yet. So I was still scaled down to the 1 minute time frame. News dropped, right? We'll go to 10 a.m. News dropped. I thought we were going to come up and take out a little bit more buy side liquidity and then continue lower, right? As we can see, we're at 10:04 here. Let's go to 10:04 on NASDAQ. On ES. As we can see, we come back down. We have a bullish fair value gap here. And we break structure to the downside, right? What do? I wait. I'm still waiting. Still waiting to take my trade. Let's see where we get it. We come back up. We sweep a couple more highs, right? I'm probably on the 5-minute time frame. Yeah, this is where I was. Sorry. So we didn't take a trade there yet. We're on the 5-minute time frame. Let's go to the 5-minute. NASDAQ inverses this 5-minute bearish fair value gap. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I messed up. So NASDAQ broke structure to the upside. ES also broke structure to the upside. Here's what happened. Look, we monitor the lows, right? We monitor the last low. What happens? We get a break of structure on the 5-minute time frame. Right? This is at 10:10. What time is this at? Let's go to 10:10 on NASDAQ. All right, 10:10. We get this move down. Right? We don't break structure to the downside on NASDAQ yet, right? We have to break below this low. But look, let's X out this 5-minute bearish fair value gap. We break structure on the 5-minute time frame on ES. Right? So I was like, all right, we came up. We wanted to sweep these highs with news. News came out bullish. Maybe we continue lower here. We break structure on the leading index based off the higher time frame. I scale down to the 1 minute time frame here. Like, watch this. We get this big move down. We break structure to the downside in the 1 minute time frame after sweeping buy side liquidity. What do I look for? We form two bearish fair value gaps. One. Just make this red. One. And then we form a smaller one down below. Right? What do I want to see? I want to see the second fair value get traded into first in a reaction off it, not the first one. Because again, we still have the potential to fill this one. I also mark out equilibrium. I want equilibrium to get hit. What do we get? Coming to equilibrium in the second fair value gap. Bang. Entry right there. This is my entry. Stops above this high. Target, first take profit. If you wanted this, right? That's a 1 to 2.43. Or if you wanted to take a little bit more of a risk, you could have marked out this bullish 4-hour fair value gap, right? Make that green. Let's go back down to the 1 minute time frame. You could have put it at the top of the fair value gap, the 50% level, or the end, or even at the equal lows. Right? I thought we were at least going to come to here, or to here, or here. But we didn't, right? Market's going to do what it wants. So, we can end up seeing what I should have done. Well, again, I think this was a good trade. It was just wrong, and the market didn't do what I wanted it to do. But look, it's something I've been just watching lately. And you can think I'm crazy or suck at trading. I don't care. But like, this is something I've just been observing. We can see the market chops around for a little bit. We don't get stopped out for like 40 minutes, right? But if we scale to the 5-minute time frame, dude, watch this. NASDAQ ends up forming a low and a higher low, right? Let's mark that out. Sorry, this is 2 different tabs, so I got to do it differently. Marking S&T from this low, right? We form a low and a higher low. If we go to the 5-minute, right, we could see that ES ended up forming a low and a lower low, showing us that NASDAQ is the leading index now. So the leading index never broke structure to the downside, right? If it broke structure to the 5-minute time frame to the downside, we'd probably look good. But we could see that it wants to continue up and at least target this 4-hour high, right? And that's what ended up happening. So it's just like, again, leading index now based off the S&T we formed at the low. We didn't form that at first when we entered the trade. We ended up forming it, and that's when I should have exited a little bit early to save a little bit of money. But again, I only entered in 2 micro E-minis because I was on a 3-trade losing streak. I lost $68 per account, so $680. And I was totally fine with that, especially how price was looking. Because again, if we go to the 1-minute time frame on ES, yeah, we came up and inversed this bearish fair value gap, but we formed a bullish fair value gap, man. I thought we were going to come back up. It was just one more retrace. We ended up inversing it on this candle right here. I thought we were going to look good. We came back up above it, thought we were going to get stopped out. We ended up inversing it again. And I thought we were going to be good. It was going to come back down, but we ended up getting stopped out like 40 minutes later, right? So again, I don't know. I think this was a good trade because I was going off of higher time frame, and higher time frame holds higher power for me. And you could see we created multiple bearish S&Ts, right? We created on the higher time frame and the lower time frame at first. We broke structure on the 5-minute time frame. We ended up breaking structure back on the 5-minute time frame to the upside, and that failed. We ended up taking out a little bit more buy side liquidity, and then we ended up breaking structure to the downside again on ES, which originally I thought was the leading index because of the higher time frame. But then we ended up forming a 5-minute S&T at those lows to push price even higher, faking me out, and we got stopped out. So there's really nothing we can do. But again, it's a little frustrating. I understand that. I'm starting to learn how to control my emotions more and be emotionless when it comes to this stuff and just overall follow the long-term game plan. Because, again, I've taken 4 losses in a row. I had a losing week, right? The main thing I should be focusing on right now is preserving my capital and making those losses smaller and building my way back up slowly and building my confidence back up slowly. And I think that's going to be the way to determine if I'm going to be successful in this game, because I feel like we all end up going on losing streaks. It just matters about how well you can deal with being in that drawdown, especially on these PA accounts. Because again, we're on 50K, 50K Apex accounts, right? The trailing drawdown until you get past it is $2,500. We were close to getting there. We were like halfway. We were at 51,000 almost. But then now we're on a losing streak, and we ended up losing around, I think we ended the week $433 per account, right? So again, we got to remember that since I'm lower in drawdown now, since I got below the 2,000 mark, I scaled down a little bit. Even today, I scaled down a lot because I want to just hit that good trade, build my confidence back up. Even if I usually risk around 200 to 250 per trade. If I risk around 150 to 125 and target those 1 to 2 RRs, if I'm risking 150, I'll end up hitting a $300 trade, right? That brings back basically 2.5 losses, almost 3, right? And we're almost to where we need to be. If we hit another trade like that, we got all our profits back plus more. So it's like, if I can lose 4 trades in a row, which the most I've ever lost on these accounts in the beginning was 6, if I can lose that many in a row and survive that and continue back up and build that buffer back up, I think that's going to prepare me for the long run in this game compared to most people. Again, we always ask for us to be tested in these areas of trading, like learning how to become better with risk management, learning how to become better with your emotions, controlling your emotions, learning how to become better with your psychology and trusting your strategy, learning how to become better from getting your way out of drawdown. Like, again, this game's not going to be consistent money making over a long period of time. And then you get presented with those opportunities and you end up blowing these accounts and just keep going in this repetitive cycle over and over again, not looking in the mirror and actually saying, hey, this is an opportunity for me to prove to myself of all the stuff that I've learned, that if I follow my rule system, if I follow my risk management plan, if I don't over leverage, if I scale down and trying to survive and build my way back up instead of rushing the process, and actually do that multiple times over and over again, because this is the third time on these accounts we're doing this, but this is the second biggest drawdown. Again, the first time on these accounts was the biggest. I think we got down to $1,400 drawdown. So we still got plenty of room. We've survived the storm before, and we built back up. We had $1,000 per account month last month. So again, it's just one of those weeks. We're going to have losing weeks. We're going to have losing months. It's just how you deal with it when you're in those positions. And I truly think that's how a trader really is defined, is how they deal with losses and how they can build back from losses. Because again, I don't care who you are, there's no 100% win rate. I just want to see, I don't want to see anything. It's just, I just want to be able to get myself out of these positions, because you're going to get put into them. And again, the only way to learn from them and to get better at them is to actually be involved in the position. Yeah, I have 10, 50 KPA accounts, dude. Worst thing that happens is, again, I've had 11 before and blown them. I've had 9 before and blown them. I've had 5 before and blown them. I've had multiple before and blown many times. Many freaking times, guys. It's like, again, worst case scenario, you go back and you rebuild. It's like, that's how it happens. And then over time, everything will start to get to where you need to be if you keep learning from those mistakes over and over again. And again, we get to be blessed to be able to even be in this opportunity again. Again, yeah, it's been a rough week. Especially just everything that's going on in the world. It's just been a rough week. But again, I get the opportunity to prove to myself, I don't have to prove to anybody, that I can get myself out of these drawdown. I got to be confident in my system, got to be confident in my strategy, got to be confident in my ability of trading, and not worry about what people say in the Discord or online or anything like that. Because again, this is my journey and I just speak the truth. I'm not the best trader in the world yet. I have 6 years of experience in the markets. I've made money, I've lost money, I've gotten scammed. I explained that many times. But again, there's always going to be the people out there that just can't get their head on straight and are really annoying, and they just hate regardless, because there's a lot of hate in this world. And we got to start actually being happy for other people and clapping for other people, and just see that they're at least trying and chasing their dream and trying really hard at it and trying to accomplish these goals. But instead, people will just sit there, hate and be all upset because they actually can't do it themselves. But again, I'm not going to get all personal with this stuff. I could talk about it for freaking days, but again, whoever's watching, I hope you learn a little bit from my journey. We're in another slump. Don't know what else to say. I'm going to take the weekend off, get away from the charts, and just recalibrate my brain and come back stronger even next week and see what we can do. So again, we're due for a win. We're due for a win streak coming up somewhere. And again, I'm going to prove that to you guys live. It's worst case, I don't know. You blow the accounts, and I don't want to blow the accounts, but worst case, we rebuild. I don't give a shit what anybody says. We all have our own journey. You don't fucking figure this shit out like that. It doesn't. That's not how trading works, and I've started to realize that, especially this past year. The markets don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your life situation. They don't care about who you're doing this for, what you're doing this for. It shows you who you truly are as a person, how you can control yourself, and again, it shows you the rough side of you. So, I don't know. I love this game. I ain't going nowhere, and we're going to be on top of the world one day, and I say this in some of my videos because we're going to go back and screen record this, and I'm going to be looking at you like, yep, I told you. So, but again, it's not being cocky, it's being confident, because this is my life, this stuff, and I put a lot of work into it. Not a lot of people see it, but it's just me studying every single day. The only person who sees it is my girlfriend, how much work I put in with this. So other than that being said, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Losing week for me, minus $433 per account on my PA accounts. I posted on my Instagram, but here's the week for all you freaking peanut gallery people out there who gotta say shit. If you can see that, can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. Fuck, whatever. There, you can see the circle. I know you can see that. Oh, wait, that focused. Hold on. What about that? Oh. What about that? Huh? I think that focused. No, we gotta turn it this way a little bit. And that should work. You should be able to zoom in and see that one. I think that one worked. But yeah, have a good weekend. Thank you.